Once again, good evening, and who's excited to be here at this rally? I'm State Representative Philip Cortez from the Texas House of Representatives, District 117, and I want to thank you, each and every one of you, for being here today at this rally where we need to stop the violence and free the children. Every single one of you is helping to stop this ridiculousness that's happening. And we are here to let everyone know that our voices will not be silenced. We have many, many elected officials and leaders here today, and I want to thank them all. And you're going to hear from a lot of them, and I want to thank them for standing with Congressman Joaquin Castro and helping to fight the atrocities happening at these ICE facilities. So thank you again for being here today. We look forward to hearing from all of our speakers, and it's my honor and my privilege to get a new microphone. It's my honor and my privilege to welcome up one of my best friends, Congressman Joaquin Castro. Good evening, San Antonio. Thank you, Philip. Thank you to all my colleagues, Jasmine Crockett and Greg Casar in the Federal Congress. Thank you to Jose Menendez and Trey Martinez Fisher and Gina Hinojosa and Diego Bernal in the Texas Legislature. To our city council members, Terry Castillo, our former mayor, Ron Nirenberg, who's here, our other council members, our county commissioners, Judge Sakai, Tommy Calver was coming by. I want to say thank you. We wanted to gather as elected officials in San Antonio to say that we need to stop the violence that ICE has perpetrated in Minnesota and across the country against our communities. That this is a city of humanity, that it's a city that was built by immigrants. Y'all know the story of my own grandmother that came here from Coahuila, Mexico as a 6 or 7-year-old orphan and worked for so many years here on the west side of town to give her family a better chance in life than she had. That's the story of San Antonio, that's the story of Texas, and it's a story across the United States today. A few hours ago, Jasmine Crockett and I had a chance to visit and inspect the Dilley Detention Center, a family detention center in Dilley, Texas, that is holding 1,100 men, women, and children. Not a single one has committed any crime. We had a chance to visit for about 30 minutes with Liam Ramos and his father. Y'all know the story of Liam, who was taken in Minnesota, wearing his backpack and his little cap, a 5-year-old who was taken from his family and his school and his community. And Liam and his dad met with us in the courtroom in Dilley. And I have to tell you that I'm very worried about Liam. I'm worried because the entire time we were with him, he was asleep. And his dad said that he's been sleeping most of the day because he's been depressed, and that he's not eating well, that he misses his mom and his classmates and his school, and most of all, that he wants to go back home. ICE needs to free Liam immediately and let him go back with his mom and back with his family and back with his community. I said that I would go there and see him and also demand his release. I told those ICE officers that it's not only me demanding his release, it's America demanding the release of Liam Ramos. I wish that the only story of a young child in Dilley was Liam's, but unfortunately, there's dozens, if not hundreds, of children just like Liam who are living life in prison right now. There is a 2-month-old baby who's at Dilley, who's been there for several days. We met a little girl who came up to me and kept hugging my leg, a little girl who asked us to help her and help get them out, her and her family. We met a young boy, 9 years old, who talked about missing his classmates at his school, who was picked up in Austin, Texas on New Year's Eve with his family and spent New Year's getting processed into Dilley at the detention center. We met people who had not gotten their medicine on time, kids who had lost weight because they haven't been eating the food, people who are depressed, dealing with the trauma of being in Dilley. We have seen the inhumane detention at Dilley and at Carnes and other places, and we've also seen it in the streets. You know, I don't say this lightly, but we witnessed an execution by ICE agents against Alex Preddy in Minnesota just a few days ago. And it's why I've said that ICE should be disbanded. And Secretary Kristi Noem should be impeached or fired or resign. And before we have a lot of elected officials here, these are the people that you represented, that you elected to represent our community. And they have come out anxious to talk to you. They're anxious to talk to you. And before I start bringing them up, I wanted to say just a few last things. First, it's not just the federal government and Donald Trump and Stephen Miller who are responsible. But I will say this, the tone comes from the top. The policy comes from the top. At the end of the day, the responsibility is at the top. And I would challenge President Trump, who is himself a father and a grandfather, including a grandfather, I believe, of young grandchildren, who I know and I'm sure he loves very much. President Trump, there were kids, little kids running around Dilley who were the age of your grandkids. And instead of being out free at a school, playing around on a playground with their friends, they're in a prison. They're in a prison. And I would challenge President Trump and Stephen Miller, because he's got young kids as well, just like I do. My wife Lana and I have our kids that are 12, 10, and 3.5. I would challenge them to go to Dilley and look in the eyes of the kids that they have put in detention and tell those kids that they believe that they're criminals and they belong in the Dilley Detention Center. And if you don't have the guts as the person at the top to do that, then you should change what you're doing, because those kids shouldn't be in jail. And then finally, I said, and you know it's about the president, but it's also about the governor, Greg Abbott. Greg Abbott is as much responsible as anyone for this monstrosity. Greg Abbott has forced every single law enforcement department in this state to cooperate with ICE, even though they're violating people's constitutional and human rights. In fact, the only way that Dilley or Carnes or other detention centers in Texas can function the way they do is because Greg Abbott has forced the Texas National Guardsmen and women to do detention and deportation work. The Texas National Guard is embedded at Dilley and other facilities and doing administrative and logistical work to support deportations. That is not what our guardsmen signed up for, and he should withdraw them from these detention facilities immediately. I want to thank State Senator Menendez for gathering the State Senate Hispanic Caucus to say to Governor Abbott that because of ICE's recklessness and lawlessness and abuse right now, he should withdraw any state participation with ICE immediately. So thank y'all so much for being here, and I want you to hear from your elected officials. This is a community rally because we agree this is wrong. We stand for humanity. We want to take a different course. And so first, I'd like to call up my colleague who shares part of San Antonio with me in Congress and also represents Austin. Too bad for us, the next term, he's going to be in Austin alone. We're going to lose him in San Antonio, but he's done an incredible job for the west side of San Antonio as a representative, and he'll continue to do great things in the Congress. He's head of the Congressional Progressive Caucus, Greg Casar.
Buenas tardes, San Antonio. When I first got to Congress, I looked around. I tried to see who was who in the room, and I was not surprised to find that the man that I think has the most respect of any member of Congress is San Antonio's own Joaquin Castro. And that's for good reason, because Congressman Castro walks the walk. And he went and visited Liam Ramos, and we are going to get him back. Free Liam Ramos. Free Liam Ramos. Free Liam Ramos. Free our kids. Y'all have seen the photographs. A 5-year-old Spider-Man backpack used as bait by federal agents before being sent to a detention facility. And Liam is not the only child this has happened to. The Trump administration has locked up over 4,000 kids since the beginning of the administration. Children. He said he was going after the worst of the worst, but he's locking up our kids. And it isn't just immigrants. We know that they shot and killed Renee Good, executed Alex Brady. This should send a chill down all of our spines and then has us ask, what do we do? What will we do? And as people are horrified about what we can do, I want you to know that what you are already starting to do, organizing and speaking out, is already working. Because just recently, there was this guy, Greg Bovino. He was that Border Patrol guy. We said, bye, Bovino. We got him fired. He's out of there. Remember there was that guy Elon Musk, and they said we were always going to have him around? We fired him, got him out of the federal government. Now it's time for us to impeach Kristi Noem, fire Stephen Miller while we're at it. There's more we can do. Join one of these ICE Watch groups. Go to the Know Your Rights trainings. Indivisible had a training this week. 150,000 Americans signed up. 150,000 people. Become a part of that. Do your part. Demand your elected officials speak up and respond. And if they don't, we vote them out. We vote them out. But I want to tell you about something really important happening in Washington this week, where we can save lives and make a difference this week. Just a couple weeks ago, Congressman Castro and I went and voted against ICE's budget, saying they don't deserve another penny. But now the bill is in the Senate, and they're going to start voting on it tomorrow. So go on social media, call your friends, call all of your representatives, and ask and say that all senators, but especially our Democratic senators, need to hold the line and say, hell no. ICE doesn't deserve this. Hell no. They got to take off the masks and put on a badge. They've got to get out of Minneapolis and stop invading our cities with thousands of officers. They've got to stop these warrantless arrests. We've got to get ICE off of the streets of San Antonio and out of our Bexar County courthouses. They don't need billions more dollars. What do y'all say? This road is going to be hard. This road is going to be long. But I want to say something to folks that I've been saying to throughout Texas. Because I know that there are folks in this crowd that every day, maybe every hour, you feel afraid. And I understand why. Afraid that your parents may not come back after going to work. Afraid that you might be separated from your spouse. Afraid about what might happen to your students or to your kids or to your neighbors. Afraid that when you see the video of what happened to Alex Preddy, that it could be someone you know and love next. I understand why people feel afraid, and I can't guarantee that everything is just going to be okay. But what I can guarantee you is that Donald Trump and his cronies want to use that fear to paralyze you. Because they thrive in the darkness and in the silence. And our job is to rally through that fear, to march through that darkness, to shout in the silence, to fight day in and day out, again and again and again and again, until we get to a better world after this one, where we pass comprehensive immigration reform, give the millions of people here in Texas the pathway to legal status, so that no wannabe authoritarian can do anything like this ever again to any of our people, period. That's what we're going for, y'all. That's what we're getting on the other side of this. It's not just going to be pain and tragedy, it's going to be a brighter day. But the only way to do it is to follow Alex Preddy's example. That's what a real man looks like, not this Bo Vino or Stephen Miller crap. He went to go help somebody else, and they killed him for it. And then millions of people stood up and did the same thing, helping out their neighbors. That's how our democracy stays alive. It's not elected officials, it's not heroes, it's no white knight in shining armor. It's the people marching in Minneapolis, the people rallying here in San Antonio, and it's my honor to be a small part of it alongside you guys. Thank you all very, very much. Thank you so much, Congressman.
Thank you, Congressman. Next, we have somebody who's been a real fighter in the Congress, somebody who was on that visit with me today, who also witnessed the despondence of a lot of the kids and the struggles of the families there. Somebody who has never been shy in Congress, and you know where she stands on issues. And I want to say thank you to Jasmine Crockett, first of all, for coming to Dilly with me. And also I want to welcome her up, Jasmine Crockett, Congresswoman for Dallas and candidate for the U.S. Senate.
Y'all know that I'm usually not short on words. I usually have a lot of them, even the cuss words. Today was one of the hardest days of my life. I have seen some terrible things as a criminal defense attorney, as someone who practiced civil rights work, but seeing children basically in cages today broke something in me. The image of Liam is traveling everywhere, all around this country and frankly all around this world. But let me tell you, for every visual of Liam, there is another child that is younger, another child that is older, another child that is not with their friends, another child that is not in school, another child that this country has decided that they are worth less than other folk. When I tell you that I did not know what to expect, but in my mind, I just thought that Liam was an exception. Instead, it is clear that the system is broken, and we've always known that. But the fact is, going and grabbing up children is a feature and not a flaw of this system. The only way that we are going to fix this brokenness is by sticking together. They have done everything to divide us. Earlier today, I was ready to cuss somebody out. Y'all know how people can get me going. But we literally were trying to tell the stories of a lot of people that they want to remain voiceless and faceless in this fight. And we showed up, and if you could see the glimmer of hope that came across their eyes when they saw me and my colleagues show up to listen to them. And then as we came out to make sure that we could tell their stories, there was a man that decided he wanted to protest. He wanted to be loud and wrong. He wanted to tell us that we don't want quote-unquote illegals here in this country. He didn't know their stories. And frankly, I'm tired of everybody telling me about how they're big Christians and sounding more like devils. Listen, I'm a PK. I love Jesus too. But Jesus tells me to love my neighbor. Jesus tells me to love the least of these. And what you do for the least of these, then you do for me. Some people need to get back to the Bible if that's what they claim that they are about. But let me tell you, I've been calling these fools running around, they are bullies with badges. They are cowards. And frankly, they don't understand what it is to be patriotic or to be American. You see, to hear the stories of the people that have come to this country, and they came the quote-unquote right way. They came into this country because it's supposed to be the land of the free, the land of opportunity, and we are supposed to be, well, delivering the American dream. But right now, we are doing nothing but delivering nightmares with our tax dollars. And I'm glad that you brought up tax dollars, because that's our job. As we go through this appropriation process, and I am so happy to say that I am standing here with two colleagues that made sure that we voted against the funding. We voted against it. Now, there are those that make their excuses or have their reasons for why they voted for it, but at the end of the day, we are in the minority as Democrats, and it seems like the Democrats are the only ones that have any morality as well. And so if we want to actually be able to extend some leverage, then we have to stick together. So it is important that we organize and not just do it in the streets, but make sure that we are calling all members of Congress, that we are applying pressure. Because let me tell you something, Greg Abbott ain't never cared about doing the right thing a day in his damn life. Not one day. But somehow, he's like, we need to recalibrate. What that means is that the polls ain't looking good because they have never cared about doing the human thing. They have never cared about doing the patriotic thing. They've only cared about making sure that their homies could profit. You see, this isn't my first detention center that I have visited in the state of Texas, because I sit on the oversight committee, and frankly, every single member of Congress has a duty to exercise oversight over these facilities. So one of the questions that I always ask is how many people here are actual federal employees and how many are contractors? I'm sure none of y'all would be surprised to know that the vast majority of the people are contractors. They somehow have made deals with certain folk. You remember, as we talk about, getting rid of one flunky, they brought in another one, Tom Homan. Do y'all remember who that is? Do y'all? No. Do you remember what Tom did, though? Yeah, he took the bag. He literally took the bag, right? He took the bag of money, $50,000, okay? These were taxpayer dollars. But do you remember why he took the $50,000? For contracts. He promised contracts to lock people up. He said, give me the money and you will get your money in return and then some. We are living in the most corrupt government that we have ever had in the United States. And they want you to be scared. That's why they want to have officers out there killing people in broad daylight, shooting them in their back and shooting them in their head, and not ever facing accountability because they want you to say, never mind, that's not my business. I'm going to stay home with my family, but it is all of our business. You cannot sit idly by. We will lose everything if we sit in silence. We are still a democracy, whether they want to recognize it or not, and frankly, the power will always belong to the people. So the only thing that I ask of you is to make sure that you always flex your power. Don't let anybody tell you that you're powerless. Don't let them make you feel like it's all hopeless. I need you. We need each other. The one thing that I want you to do is understand that our unity will be our strength in this moment. Do not let them divide us for any reason. Never ever accept that it's okay to gun people down in the middle of the street. Never ever accept that it is okay to just incarcerate innocent children. Do not accept that. We have to be better than that. So I don't know who's coming next, but somebody coming next. So the last thing that I'm going to say is Chingra La Migra.
Thank you, Desmond. Thank you, Congresswoman. I also want to say a special thank you because I don't want to forget. I want to say a special thank you and acknowledge the students from more than 20 San Antonio high schools who are walking out this week for their courage and their bravery and for taking a stand. Next, I'd like to bring up somebody that's been a long-time friend of mine. I served with for 10 years in the state legislature and continues to fight for the people of San Antonio, Representative Trey Martinez-Fisher.
Wow. Wow. You know, I've been in politics a long time. In moments like these, the best thing to do is probably give the microphone back to Jasmine. Did a hell of a job. She brings the fire. She lets you know where you stand. And she calls it fair and square, calls balls and strikes. Before I get into my remarks, I too want to thank Joaquin Castro, because I remember the day that Liam was taken into custody, because one of my guardian angels, Kathy Vale, calls me, tells me, "Did you see this in the news?" I said, "I didn't. Let me read this article, and then I'm going to call Joaquin." And Joaquin didn't say hello. He didn't say, "How you doing?" He says, "I'm on it." He said, "I'm on it." And then he put me to work. He said, "Trey, they said he's in San Antonio. The reporter may have gotten it wrong. I need you to track that down for me. Find that reporter and find out where this child is, but my team is tracking him down now." And within a week's time, less than a week's time, not only is Joaquin on top of it, he's organizing us, bringing us in this room. It is a Wednesday night. We have a lot to do. It's cold outside. We're hungry. Our kids have homework. We've got to be at work in the morning. Some of you just got your lights back on after this winter freeze. But you're here because it's just too damn important. And that says a lot. So I'm proud of Joaquin for stepping up, showing the guts, being a leader, because really, frankly, this is who we are, San Antonio. This is who we are. We always stand up for people. We stand up for the little person. We don't let people take cheap shots at our community. And we know that the only way you get to Dilley in this part of the state is you got to come through us. And we have an obligation and a responsibility to live up to the expectations of those who came before us. Let's review. When Ronald Reagan signed the MLK holiday into federal law, Texas refused to recognize it. When they tried to get the Texas legislature to recognize MLK as a state holiday, it was organizers from San Antonio that figured out a way to get the NFL to boycott the Super Bowl in Texas unless they had MLK. That was because of you. That was because of you. Somebody in this room says, I know that. That was my primo. That was my neighbor. I know that. We also know that when Latinos needed a big brother, needed a bodyguard, needed a guardian angel, LULAC, MALDEF, American GI Forum, all those roots are deep here in San Antonio. We know what to do when it comes to protecting our community. And you want to know what can you do to make a difference? I think all we need to do is to put Greg and Joaquin back in the majority of the U.S. House so we can have true accountability. Let's elect a senator with ganas who's going to fight for us in the U.S. Senate. Let's go pick up a seat in the Texas 35. Let's go pick up a seat in the Texas 21. Let's go pick up a seat in the Texas 23. We can do this. We can do this. Republicans are in retreat. For Ted Cruz to tell the president, this isn't a good look, as they say back in the neighborhood, está cagando. They know it. They know it. For the governor to say Governor Abbott to say we need to recalibrate the mission in Minnesota, you know how hard it was for him to get the words out of his mouth? Because this is the governor who put barbed wire on the border, put buoys in the water, had people on horseback whipping immigrants as they ran across the Rio, where children died drowning because they could not get out of the barbed wire. For a governor to say that, for our governor to say that, that is rich. They are retreating. Well, I tell you what, Abbott and Trump, those strategies aren't working. And then let me tell you this. Detaining 5-year-old children, that strategy is not going to work either. And the American people know it. And you know it. And the only way, I say this as somebody who loves raspas, the only way that we're going to get this country back on track is we got to crush some ice, people. We're going to crush ice. Let's do this. We are only here to do our job because of the grace of God, because of the support that you give us, and the kindness you show to our families when we're away working. And we have not forgotten that. We will continue to fight for you. But we don't fight for you, we fight with you. That's what it's always going to be. So thank you for coming here on a Wednesday night in the middle of a crazy work week with all the responsibilities and obligations you have. I am grateful to see people standing outside wanting to be in this room. That means in San Antonio, we know San Antonio values. We know when people are being done wrong, and we will always have Liam's back. We will also always have Genesis's back, a 5-year-old girl from Austin who was deported and detained in Dilley. We have their back, people. They're counting on us. And we gotta step up. It's our moment. Thank you, Joaquin Castro.
Next, I want to invite up somebody who's done a wonderful job for Bexar County and been a wonderful public servant, our friend Peter Sakai.
Hijo, man, how do you follow that? Jeez, I mean, cricket. I stand in solidarity with Congressman Joaquin Castro. in the fight against the Constitution. But more importantly, I stand with you, the power. You heard, you have the power. Su voto es su voz. Su voto es su poder. You know what you have to do. I have been a former prosecutor. I've been a former assistant DA. I've been a former judge for over 30 years. What has happened is unconstitutional. It's a violation of our Constitution. It is inhumane, immoral. It is wrong. And I call out the Trump administration. I call out the federal authorities, the ICE, Department of Homeland Security, the Border Patrol, the Department of Justice, for the violation of the United States Constitution. I have gone on record that I have been a public servant, putting people first, always. And as a public servant, as a public official, I took an oath before God that I would preserve, protect, and defend the United States Constitution, and that's why I'm here today. So tonight, remember that you have the power, that we cannot be silent, that we will not tolerate, we will not hide. We will stand up and fight for those children. Because as the children's court judge that I served for 30 years, I was in the court system to protect those children, those foster children, those families who had their children taken away, and those families that wanted their children back. I have fought for the children, I have fought for the families, and I have worked to make our life better here in Bexar County. Thank you. I'm Judge Peter Sakai, your county judge. God bless all of you.
Thank you, Judge. Next, I want to invite up somebody that was a mayor, visionary mayor of San Antonio, and served the people of San Antonio incredibly well for 8 years, and that's our former mayor and candidate for county judge, Ron Nuremberg.
Good evening, everybody. Well, first, let's give it up for Joaquin and Greg and other folks. You know, it's hard. We're all residents of this beautiful city. And to have our neighbors come to a press conference to tell us that they went down to Dilley to show a little humanity from San Antonio, and they got tear gassed by ICE in return. That's wrong. So we know that what's happening in San Antonio needs to happen all across the country, because what we've seen on TV in Minnesota, in California, in Texas falls below any standard of human dignity and decency. It is un-American, it is undemocratic, it is wrong. But we know also we didn't get here overnight. I stood with Councilman Greg Casar at the courthouse when Greg Abbott had signed SB 4 and San Antonio was the only community to take him to court. We stood here when unaccompanied minors were coming to Texas without any help. We brought them here to take care of them because that's what human decency from San Antonio looks like. When 600,000 migrants, asylees were coming to Texas, they came to San Antonio. What did they find? They found neighbors. They found people who care. They found people who would take care of their dignity and allow them to get on with their court dates. But today, the gates have been closed. Today, Trump has said exactly what he's going to do in 2016 when he declared that this country was being invaded by our neighbors. So we have an obligation as human beings to use every power we have, every fiber of our body, every voice in our community to stand up and say this is wrong. We can be better than this. This is not the America we know. And when America goes wrong, San Antonio gets it right every single time. So continue to use your power. Continue to use your power. And I join with the lawmakers in our state, and Congressman Casar, Congressman Castro, and many people on both sides of the aisle who are demanding defunding of ICE, dismantling of an unconstitutional force that's been militarized against our own neighbors, hunting out our own citizens, killing citizens of the United States. We demand an end to it, an impeachment of Kristi Noem, and a removal of Stephen Miller from office. And I'll just say it one last time. Every time that human beings are found on the margins who need champions, people to fight for them, it is in our history, it is in our DNA. San Antonio changes our community, changes our state, changes our nation, and what starts in San Antonio can change the world. God bless you all. Thank you for being here. Continue to fight. Lift up your voices. Go vote. God bless you all.
Thank you, Mayor. There is a state representative from Austin who has been a true champion in the Texas legislature, who is running to replace Greg Abbott as governor. And I'd like for you to hear from her now. Gina Hinojosa.
Thank you. And thank you, Congressman, for gathering us all here today. I am Gina Hinojosa, and I'm running to be the next governor of Texas. I want to speak about what we have witnessed here in Texas, what they are doing to little children, to Liam. What we heard described that is happening at Dilley in any other state in the United States of America, it would be prosecuted as child abuse. Only in Texas is it allowed that we incarcerate little children with their parents. It is shameful. It is happening because here in Texas, we have the most corrupt governor in Texas history. Greg Abbott knows that it is because of him. He licensed these facilities to put in jail children and parents. You should know that all of these facilities are now run by private prison companies. That started last year. These private prison companies have given tens of thousands of dollars to Greg Abbott to his re-election campaign. And it was only after that happened that he created this new kind of licensing to lock up children and their parents. That is the corrupt reality we are dealing with here in Texas. I have to say, people ask all the time, what do we do? I was having dinner with my own family, and my son Mateo was home from school. He's 20, and he asked, what do we do? Nothing works. And I know for a lot of us parents, we look at our children and we want to give them answers because what is happening right now is not normal. It is not the country we have known America to be, and it is wrong. But what I see happening now, the heroism, the humanity being displayed in Minnesota, in Texas, and all across the this country shows me that it is working. When we stand up for what we believe in, when we refuse to be silenced, when we refuse to believe the lies that the corrupt government is telling us, when we refuse to stay home, even though these are scary times, we are creating a powerful force. And right now, what I see is they are on their heels. Because while the government is broken, the people are not. While the government has fallen into authoritarianism, the people are free, and the people are fighting back, and that is the way the people will win. Thank you very much. I'm Gina Hinojosa. I'm going to be the next governor of Texas. Thank you.
All right, y'all. Now, we talked about this is a community rally, and we also wanted to have a discussion about knowing your rights. Y'all have seen some of the footage in Minnesota. You saw that secret memo where ICE said that they can go onto your property with no warrant at all. So it's important that we know our rights. And for that, I wanted to bring up our sheriff, Javier Salazar.
Good evening. It feels great to be here with y'all tonight, and I'm sorry that I'm not in your uniform. I say your uniform because, listen, for the first 24 years of my life, my career as a law enforcement officer, I wore the uniform of the SAPD, the uniform I chose for myself. But for the last 9 years, I've had the honor of wearing the uniform you chose for me, and you put on me. You put this gold badge that says badge number 401 on it, on my chest, and I so appreciate it. Every single day I carry you all with me. I had the honor, because of you all, to stand beside President Joe Biden, a real freaking president, I might add. Several times last year, I had the honor of standing next to him as he signed off on executive orders that were compassionate, still enforcing the law, still protecting law enforcement officers, still protecting our community, but respecting the rights of people. Because absolutely, we are a country of laws, right? And you can be a country of laws and a country of compassion if you do it right, if you do it with heart. And that's what President Biden did. So it was my honor to stand beside him. Guys, it was my honor to represent you, my community, at the DNC, when I got to speak at the DNC. And at that DNC, a great part of a large part of my speech concentrated on the fact that we were being used. I say we as law enforcement officers were being used as a prop, as a photo op for Donald Trump and his cronies. And my gosh, it has gotten so much worse than that. Since that time, I have watched the profession that I love, that I've devoted my whole entire adult life to, be politicized and weaponized against our community. I'm watching folks that kind of wear a uniform murdering people on live TV. And then I'm watching people stand up and defend that and tell you that what you saw was not murder. What you saw was a domestic terrorist getting what he deserved. We know what we saw. And come 2028, we're going to know what to do. Come later this year, 2026, you all know what to do. You all know that you got to keep these folks in office, but you also got to do things like put Johnny Garcia in District 35. He's running for Congress in 35. Bobby Pulido in 15. You got to put those people in office. And we've got to clip the wings of this administration, these pseudo-dictators, these pseudo-emperors that think they run things. We need to show them what you're capable of. Absolutely, this past week, we saw that we gave Bovino his walking papers, and he's gone. That was you that did that. This little redirection that they're doing, that was you that did that. And make no mistake about it, we are many, and we are mighty, and we are loud. So this is America, and we still have our rights, and you all need to know those rights, as Congressman Castro mentioned. We have the right to remain silent. So if and when you are ever approached, you have the right to remain silent. Absolutely. You don't have to make any statement, oral or written, to anybody. Have y'all heard those words before? Well, we have those rights, and I'd suggest you use it, because nobody can make you identify yourself if you're not breaking the law, guys. If you're walking about your normal life being a U.S. citizen, you don't have to identify yourself to anybody, ICE or otherwise, local, federal, state, local, anybody, okay? Folks like my dad and all the other veterans in this room fought for you to have that right, so use it. Guys, I so appreciate the opportunity to be here with you tonight, and as your sheriff for the last 9 years running, I've got 3 more years in this term. I'm hoping more after that, but that's up to you all. But I also know that if I don't do my job and do what you all put me there to do, I can be replaced just like anybody else can. I really appreciate the opportunity to come here tonight. I appreciate the opportunity to represent you and protect and serve you every single day. Que Diosito me los bendiga a todos. Gracias.
All right, y'all, we have just a few more elected officials, but some very special folks, incredibly hardworking folks. And the next person is the representative on the City Council for District 5. She is a strong voice of the people of the west side of San Antonio, a true fighter on that council. That's Terry Castillo.
Not another nickel, not another dime, no more money for ISIS crimes. Come on now. Not another nickel, not another dime, no more money for ISIS crime. Not another nickel, not another dime, no more money for ISIS crime. I'm Councilmember Terry Castillo, extremely proud to represent the working people of San Antonio's District 5. And it's important that we highlight that every elected official who has spoken before you today, each and every one of us, we've raised our hand and taken an oath to protect and uphold the United States Constitution. And what we've seen over the last several years is textbook fascism. We're seeing those in power continue to chip away at the civil liberties and the Constitution. What we've seen here in the city of San Antonio at De La Rosa Street are folks who have an appointment to go to court being illegally detained. Isn't that a shame? What we're seeing are individuals exercising their right to protest, arrested, tear gassed, shot and murdered in broad daylight. Shame. What we're hearing and learning is now ICE agents have the authority to enter someone's home without a judicial warrant. We all have the collective responsibility to continue to organize and fight back. And as an organizer, I always have an ask, but my ask tonight is that tonight, no matter what your faith is, please pray for the organizers that go to public comment, that are rallying the protests that's in the streets. Because those are the individuals that are allowing us to say, defund ICE, abolish ICE. So I want to just ensure that we continue to protect and advocate and preserve our constitutional rights. But most importantly, let's ensure that the individuals that have spoken today, that we continue to support them and ensure that they keep their seats. Because while we're going to continue to organize in these streets, we're going to organize to take and keep seats. My last message for leadership, whether it's here at the helm in the city of San Antonio, the state of Texas, or the United States, we will not obey in advance. We will not obey in advance. Thank you, and solidarity forever.
All right, our final 2 elected officials. Before I introduce each of them, I wanted to acknowledge somebody who is, I think, has the heart of a true public servant and is aspiring to public service. She's a candidate for State Rep District 118, Kristen Carranza, who's here. And now Terry represents this district on the west side in the city council. My longtime friend, he and I went to Tapoya Middle School just down the street. Diego Benal is the state representative who represents the west side here. We're getting towards the end, and so many people have said some incredible things, but I just want to say a couple, or maybe a few. The first is that one of the reasons why we're having this conversation is because Joaquin and Jasmine didn't just advocate, they didn't just raise their voices, they went and put eyes on those people, on those children, and on that young man. In a moment where the government is telling us what to believe, we have our own eyes telling us what's happening, and I'm so thankful for them and their efforts in doing that. The other is, let's recap a little bit of what we've heard tonight, right? One, Greg Abbott is an accomplice. As Texas funds the imprisonment of children, as people who are here legally are taken out of courthouses and stored there, as ICE patrols not just our areas, but as of yesterday, our schools, the governor of the Don't Tread on Me state is treading upon us. Let's recap. Abolish ICE. No one needs to go. Miller needs to go. Release Liam. Release his father. Release all of those political prisoners. While we're at it, the Epstein files too. But let me say this before I get out of here. My family's here, my friends are here. I'm so proud to represent this part of the mighty West Side. You do get the question, what do I do? And I think the answer is very simple. It's whatever you can. If you want to march, march. You want to run for office? Run for office. You want to give a donation? Give a donation. You want to tweet a lot? Tweet. You want to post a lot? Post. You want to make art? Make art. Do the remix, lay the track, write the story. Everything, absolutely everything helps. The only thing that does not help is doing nothing. Now I'm gonna get real, for those of you who know me, I'm about to get real nerdy. So bear with me. I'm a comic book, video game nerd in my off time. And there's something about the Spider-Man backpack that really got to me, right? And it reminded me of this panel in a comic book that I read a couple months ago that I'm just going to share with you. So follow me, okay? There's a character named Nightwing. If you don't know who Nightwing is Robin from Batman and Robin grown up. That's Nightwing, okay? And in the panel, Robin is walking with another hero through a tunnel in pursuit of a bad guy, right? And the hero he's with, well, she's got amazing healing powers, and her skeleton is covered with cosmic metal, and she's got razors that come out of her claws, and she's just a badass, right? And she turns to him and says, well, what can you do? Can you fly? He says, no. Can you run really fast? No. Can you turn invisible? Or something like that? No. She says, so then what can you do? And he looks to her and he says, I do what I can.
people and for all of these kids, the best we can do is be the version of Nightwing that we are and just do what we can, and we'll get there. Thank you guys so much.
All right, before I bring up our final elected official, I want to say again, thank you to all of our elected officials who've come in front of you and this community rally to be accountable for how they're standing up and how they're listening to you. And so thank you to our state reps, thank you to Philip, Diego, to Gina, to everybody, our council members, the county commissioners, my colleagues in the Congress, and the final elected official that I want to bring up, who actually represents a district that is larger than mine. His district is larger than 1 million people. Mine, I think, is 800,000. He's got a large part of Bexar County and San Antonio, and has been doing a wonderful job for our community for so many years. And that's Jose Menendez, our state senator.
Buenas noches. Good evening, everybody. I also want to add my thanks to our Congressman, Joaquin. You know, Joaquin, I was looking at a picture from 2003 when you and I were in Ardmore, Oklahoma, back when Tom DeLay was trying to rob some seats here in Texas. And what it reminded me of is that Joaquin's always stood up for the right thing. And Rosie, I know that you laid the foundation for that, so I want to thank you as well. Friends, I stand before you as a kid of two immigrants, un hijo de inmigrantes. And I want to tell you, one of the things that hurts me, and sometimes it's when I see other Latinos who are saying, they're talking about they should have come the right way. They're illegal. Toda esta basura, all this trash. But what I want to ask you to do is have some patience, because in some ways, they can be easier to turn around. And I'll explain this to you. One day, during SB4, show me your papers. And this guy said, que se, no hombre, que my family, we've been here, no sé qué, forever, y que los mojados, y que la chingada. And I'm like, and I said, hey, John, come over here, John. I said, we were in a place that was a mirror. I said, I want to ask you something. How does the cop know which one of us has been here for generations? And he's like, wait a minute, what do you mean? You mean he can stop me and ask me? I said, sí, pendejo. He can detain anyone he wants until they're happy that they have proven their legal documentation status in this country. Folks, here's what I want y'all to do. I love what Diego said in the recap. I want to just add a little something. In every encounter that you have, don't be afraid to talk about this issue. Whether it's at work, whether it's at school, whether it's your place of worship, wherever you run into people that aren't clued in. You are the 1%, the top of people who understand what's happening. You have to understand that there are a lot of people, maybe through no fault of their own, they have to work 2 or 3 jobs. They're a single parent. They have a lot going on. My wife sent me a text right now that my son's, my granddaughter needs help with the homework, and when are you going to be home? And my point is this. We have to talk to people about what's happening. You know what's happening. They don't understand. And then you got to ask them, when they think they heard something on the news or on the internet or somewhere, you say, well, how do you know that's true? Ask them to verify it. That's the beauty of what Joaquin and Congressman Castro did today by going down to see Liam. They saw the truth with their own eyes. The foundation of this corrupt, inept excuse for a president that's in the White House today, the foundation is lies. That is his base level, is lying and lying and lying. It's what he's done his whole life. He's a grifter, that's absolutely right. Absolutely. Entonces, vamos a hablar con toda la gente. We got to talk to everybody. And I'll tell you why, because we've got between now and November. Because you guys are the choir, folks. I know where you're going to be in November, but we need to get everybody here. We need to get them the help. They need to be in the majority so we can shut down ICE, so we can impeach Kristi Noem, get rid of Stephen Miller. And put that little man in the box that he deserves. Donald Trump has got to go. Muchas gracias. Que Dios los bendiga.